Hey everybody, here we are at Eagle River Polaris Arctic Cat for another edition of AK Sled Shed. Welcome everybody, it's Mike Buck with AK Sled Shed. I'm really excited today because we have Chris Oles here with us to talk about the Irondog a little bit and some of the equipment that he uses and takes with him when he's out there on the snow. So Chris, we're going to talk about helmets and face protection. You know, I've really had problems over the years trying to figure that whole thing out. So any tips that I can get from you today, I'm going to give a try.
Okay. So I've, over the years, I've kind of modified, the type of helmet, goggles, face masks, tapes and stuff like that over the years. Things is definitely involved. My system's a lot simpler than it used to be, but I've had multiple frostbites on my forehead here, this area, tip of the nose. It's pretty easy. We're always training and riding. We don't stop because it gets to 40, 50 below. We're still riding, so obviously, so there's a lot of wind, and some people have the luxury to just say it's too cold, we won't go riding today. So. But we go out all the time, and like I said, during the race, so we've basically learned to adapt to be able to ride with it at high speed, and obviously wind protection on the windshield makes a big difference too, but you can't always rely on that if it's not there. So definitely kind of talk about, currently, I guess we're just kind of get in with the helmet. Currently I'd use like a motocross style helmet with goggles. It's not a and we'll talk about the open face too, but this is kind of my current setup right now. So a couple things with that to make it actually work. One is I use a face mask. I've tried the no fog, the balaclava, and it works well. But Climb has this, the Arctic balaclava, and the nice thing about it's got the neoprene here, and it really blocks the wind. So if I don't have a perfect seal, this is always sealed against my face, and it has a pretty small opening, and as long as my goggles, and we'll kind of talk about that, but as long as my goggles are seated, I don't have any problems. I don't need to use any tape or anything. Depending on, and again, this is kind of my go-to now. I just have to put on one thing. I don't have to worry about taping. It doesn't take me a long time to get ready to go. I can just throw it on and go. So this is kind of my, over the last few years, this is what I've gone to. It's super simple and it works.
Is there a certain model that, do you know what that's
called? This is the Arctic. This is the Arctic, yep, Arctic balaclava. So.
And the nose piece is
built in onto
is that neoprene and totally air, the air won't pass through.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Yep. So it protects my nose, protects, like I said, especially this area that's very vulnerable. But what this could still, if you have a lot of wind coming in, this isn't 100% foolproof. So a couple things that we've done in the past, and even sometimes, like if I'm wearing different goggles and stuff, and like I said, we'll go to the goggles here in a little bit, but this 3M microfoam tape, we used to just use duct tape on our face. I mean, just that little bit of protection that the wind will actually blow, reflect off of it instead of actually freezing your skin. So putting duct tape in the sensitive areas or the areas that you're getting frostbite. Again, we used to use this. It's painful to take off and stuff like that. The last 5 years or 6 years, we started using this 3M microfoam. It's thicker, so it actually has better protection as far as the actual from frostbite, wind protection, and it's probably kind of hard to tell, but it's like it's a little bit thicker than what duct tape is. And the nice thing is it's like a medical style tape, so it's sticky, but it's not.
Doesn't rip your skin.
It doesn't rip your skin off when you go to take it off, and it's really easy. Like when I wear this, like if I know it's going to be really, really cold out, and if I'm riding at 50 below, I'm going to put this on, even though I'm pretty confident in my system. I'm going to, and when I say 50, I really mean about 30 below. I will put this on, and I put a strip up here and then a strip right here, because those are the places that get it. I don't really get it here anymore because I have a different system, but depending on the face mask, again, something you might want to try or experiment and try this tape. It works really well with what you have. Again, when it gets really cold, something else that and this is really not so much a face protection, but kind of a neck protection. The one thing that the back of my neck will get just a little bit cold with this on here, so I'll have like a little neck gaiter that you can just slip over, and it just gives that extra layer of protection, and it also helps with that around your jacket, kind of helps seal that up. The type of jacket we have, it you can actually kind of snug it up a little bit to keep that protection so the wind's not going down your jacket too. But this will help just give that little bit of extra protection. Kind of going back to the helmet and a couple things too. When it's really cold, this climb helmet, this is the F5, but it has it comes with a windstopper liner. So we run the windstopper liner, again, just to keep it when it's really cold. When it's warm out, you can take it out, but for the most part, I pretty much run this most of the winter. It has, the climb helmets are very well vented, which is great when you're super active and warm, but when it's 50 below on the river, it's not necessarily the best thing. So we'll come here. This is, I've used this in the spring, so I took a lot of the tape off, but we'll actually maybe tape the vents up here, tape even some of these vents back here, and again, kind of modified that for how cold it is, and I usually keep a couple vents open just to allow some ventilation, let the moisture get out. So that's kind of something that we do. The other thing too is goggles. This I think is really, there's 1,000 different helmets out there and 1,000 different goggles, and trying to figure out that perfect combination for you, because everybody's different. Everybody has, different noses, different, the way the helmets fit the head. I've gone to the Climb Oculus. I've used multiple other goggles with success too, but these ones, for me, they just work. They just seal everything up, and I think that's a big part of it. Is I don't think a lot of people realize that little bit of wind. I mean, if you can get the right fit of goggles and helmet, and you can eliminate a lot of that with just this setup without even thinking about your face mask. But before you get there, you could be thinking about that.
And they're probably designed for that helmet as
yeah,
well.
you can definitely tell that they definitely had that in mind.
Looks
I mean,
like
you can kind
they
of even
fit
see,
really well.
you can see that probably not really well, but even when I pull this back, you can see this goggle has well, you can kind of see it sticks out, and the way that it kind of flares out, it's sealing up around the whole section. So again, you got to get out there, try it, see if you get any wind.
So how about fogging? Do you have issues when you get warm and you're working hard on your machine? And what do you do about?
So a couple things. One is I consider myself very lucky. I'm not for whatever reason, I don't know that maybe I just don't sweat in this little area right here. I do sweat on my forehead, but I think that I'm lucky enough that I don't have a real fogging problem. But I think also a lot of it is your goggle management. You want to make sure, you can, if you see these goggles, you can see I actually have them just completely taped up all the way around. I got one little vent here. I have very sensitive eyes as far as with the wind and stuff. So I want very little wind coming through my goggles and actually getting it, for the cold, and because my eyes, I don't want them to dry out. So I'll tape these things up. I've even gone as far as even like these top areas, I'll even flap tape over these so that they won't even get any. Some people can't get away with that because they'll start fogging. I can, and again, if I'm in a really cold area, I'll tape up every single vent, and again, maybe it's just me, or again, I think having a seal makes a big difference. Having that seal, if that seal is broken, there's snow that's going in there, and then you get a little bit of moisture. Then when you stop, that moisture melts, and then because the heat from your face, and then you got a fogging problem. So again, I think, like, I see a lot of people, when you stop, they're taking their goggles off. Two things. One is, I think, again, having that good seal, I just leave them on. I typically don't even take my goggles off. But goggle management is huge. You want to make sure, what you don't want to do is just, let them sitting up, it's kind of snowing out lightly and they're sitting here, and now you're getting moisture in them, and then, then when you put them on, they're melting and fogging, and you just have, it's just a mess. So, again, think about when you're not actually wearing them, or you stop and you're gonna, or you know, if you're gonna stop for a long time and BS, or you know, you're stopping to do something, you know, I typically will throw these like under the hood, in a bag, under my windshield like this, so that, you know, they're not getting snow inside the goggles. So again, it's just part of that goggle management.
How about icing?
Yeah,
You know,
icing.
You're going through the fog, and now all of a sudden the outside of your goggles are all iced up,
Yep.
and you can't see anything.
Couple things that we've done over the years. I don't have them here, but on the climb goggles have like a windshield or like a little wiper on them, and you can actually wipe your
Oh,
goggles.
their glove-
And some
on
of
the
them,
thumb of the glove?
yep,
Yeah.
like on the thumb or the finger, depending on which style glove. But you can actually, some of them are stiff enough. You can actually kind of peel the. I'm always like on my machine. I carry an extra set of goggles always, so I have a bag that actually carries the goggles essentially up by the exhaust, so they're staying warm. It actually has a place where they could thaw out. So if I get into a position where I get like say the ice fog like you're talking about, it starts building up and I can't see anymore. I'm gonna do my best. I'm either gonna try and get behind the windshield so that stuff's kind of going over me, or stop and change my goggles real quick, and then I can throw my other set in there and they can actually thaw out. So it's huge. You know, when you're racing, you have the time. You don't have the time to sit there and wait for your
Right,
goggles to
yeah.
thaw. And even normal riding, it's a pain to have to stop
It is.
just to wait for your goggles to thaw. So having an extra set or 2 sets or 3 sets. I mean, there was guys back in the day there were some guys that had 5 sets of goggles on their sled. So I mean, just so that they were ready to, you know,
Yeah.
that one's gone. We'll
Yeah.
just keep going.
Rotate.
But yeah, typically I have at least a minimum of 1 pair, and sometimes 2, but on the machine. So I have, you know, again, it's just my preference, and again, having that where if my goggles do fog, I can hurry up and.
In your racing, do you have communication
We do.
in your helmets?
We do actually. I do we started using rugged radio. I don't have a head sock, but it's actually pretty slick. I mean, we you know, we don't use it as a normal conversation. We don't sit there and just completely talk, but we're able to, you know, tell each other if there's a problem. You know, you probably know when you're out with a big group of people, you really need to know if there's a problem. When the guy's pointing this direction, you need to know if that means there's a hazard or go that direction, because you know someone will point that way and then you go that way and then you end up in a creek and you're going like, I thought you were saying go that way. So you need to, you know, that's one of those things you want to
Right.
kind of get with your
Yeah.
with your group and make sure you guys understand that, you know, that means either stay away or
Right.
that's the way to go.
Trailhead
But-
meeting. You got to go over all
yeah,
that
the
stuff.
trailhead meeting, and I'm sure you're going to go over that with some of your.
Yeah.
But the helmet, the radios have been huge as far as getting, you know, that eliminates a lot of that, because you can actually.
And
talk
what
about
brand do you
We use the rugged radios. They
Rugged
work
radios.
really well. Yep. And we use it for the race and stuff. We actually use an external antenna, and they actually reach really far. But we even ride with them, like, if you know, so you don't have to be as set up. You don't have to go that extreme. You can have your radio in a backpack. We actually have ours wired into our rigs and stuff, so they're always on. But again, you don't have to get that high tech. You can just throw one in a backpack, and it's just a plug in. And again, if it's on a backpack, that's all you're doing. And you can either put it on your body, or you get the handlebar mount for the push to talk, and it's just one plug in and with a coil, and it's, you know,
Awesome.
almost don't even know that it's there.
Now, Chris, I've seen pictures of you in the past, you know, from the Irondog, where you were wearing an open face helmet. Why did you go to a full face?
I mean, really, at the end of the day, the full face, I would say the biggest advantage with it is just the face protection. You know, it just has that, you know, overall protection. But in the past, and you know, this is a junior's helmet, so I can't put it on and show you. But in the past, we have used an open face, and there's quite a few people in Alaska that use them. And for people that don't understand why or reasons why, I can say that there's a lot of advantages to them. I mean, they're light. They don't, they're lightweight. They typically have like a street, and they're made for street bikes that are, going down the highway at highway speeds. Snow machines, snowmobiles will go 100 mile an hour. So having a well-designed motocross helmet has a good visor that doesn't scoop up the wind and put a lot of strain on your neck, but typically with this, these they're designed to be going down the highway speeds and not pull your neck back, so you're not getting that sore neck. So and they work really well. I can wear a lot, basically the same type of system underneath this, and with a I should take this out of here, with a helmet system, with a goggle system, with a face mask. I mean, some of the advantages are is it's in my experience they're quieter. They have really good wind protection. It may not look like it, but I think like in some ways, again, depending on the design of your motocross helmet, it actually kind of almost acts like a ram, the wind coming in here, where I think since there's nothing, it just kind of goes around the helmet a little bit more, and the wind protection it works really well. Again, using this, I use the same under style goggle or face mask, as I do with that one, so that doesn't really change. So.
And temperature-wise, pretty much the same.
Yep.
As far as temperature
This I think that I could actually go. This one actually I could go to with be a little bit more comfortable. Again, it depends on taping up vents and stuff, but really they have these are great for cold weather. Obviously, eating and drinking if you're stopping a lot, easy to you don't have to take your helmet off just to do that. So. There's definitely some advantages. Don't totally discount them. Like I said, the biggest disadvantage is you don't have that face protection. But
and there's still quite a few Irondog guys.
There's still quite a few
with
teams that are
open
running open face.
Yeah.
I'll still sport mine around every once in a while, but I pretty much switched over to the motocross. But they're like I said, don't discount.
Well, the kind of
it.
speed you guys are running.
Yeah,
it's probably
want
a
that
lot
protection.
safer
Yes,
to have that
exactly.
protection.
It is. So. I think that's. I think there's maybe a couple other little things is, something else that really helps. Like with this helmet, it comes with this like a snap-in front visor. Again, what it's doing is it's actually blocking the wind from these vents, the front vent, and then it also kind of gives you this, protection, additional protection on across here again, so that the wind's just not. Blowing through there.
So do you use that? Or?
I do.
Yeah.
I do use this also.
Yeah.
So, obviously with that, I would just use this with a full face type.
And that snaps on the outside or the inside?
It's on the inside.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I don't have it in there right now, but this would typically it just snaps in on the inside, and again, it blocks all these vents here for this. So, again, just one more thing. If your helmet doesn't have that, again, you can use tape to help block that. It doesn't give you this, but again, with good face mask, you don't really, it's not a necessary. And again, the temperature you're riding in it, if you're riding in, 30 degrees and not going fast, that's a totally different type of riding than riding 100 mile an hour when it's 40 below. So, it's, depending on your scenario.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. That's some fantastic information. I'm sure people will be, taking it to heart and maybe making some changes. I know I will.
Yeah, like I said, you just gotta, I can't stress enough to people to just get out there and try it. The one thing that I will say too is that when you start feeling like in your face, when you start feeling that burn, don't wait to stop and fix something. Do it right then and there, because what happens is once you get frostbite on your face, you don't feel it anymore, and then you just don't think that you're getting that wind in there. Well, that's not the case. You're getting it in there, and you're getting more frostbite. So as soon as you start feeling that stinging, you want to stop, make some adjustments, maybe put some tape on, you get your goggles to fit right. Don't ignore it, because it's not going to go away. It's just your situation that's going to snowball into a.
Yeah, frostbite on your face can be pretty
Yes.
bad and pretty severe, and it can last the rest of your life.
It can. So
Scars.
Yeah,
So,
like I said, so I can't stress that enough. Just don't ignore it. Just fix it right then and there and be done with it.
All right, great. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thank you.